Well, hello everyone, it is Mr. Sunshine, Rolls-Royce technician Eddie, coming to you live right here in sunny South Florida, and have I got another special treat for you today. What we're looking at right here is some Selonoids. These are fuel vacuum Selonoids off of a Rolls-Royce. They're used on the Rolls-Royce Silver Shadows, the Silver Wraith, Corniche convertibles, Camarogs, etc. And what these do, there's two of them on each vehicle, a normally open one and a normally closed one. One is for the anti-dieseling, so that once you start your car, it's running. When you go to shut it off, it kills the vacuum so that the car will die without continue to run. That's what's called dieseling engine, when it keeps on running after you shut the engine off. So what we had here today, we're going to show you what a brand new one looks like. This is a brand new Rolls-Royce Selonoid. This is a vacuum Selonoid. There's two of them right on top of the engine, right next to the carburetors, and this is what operates as part of your Rolls-Royce automobile, running the carburetors and the vacuum system for your engine. This particular one is a UE38169. It's a weakening. This is the fuel weakening. It's shut off right now. It's a normally closed, meaning it's off right now until you get power attached to it. So what we're going to show you by that, we're going to go ahead and put a little hose on here. And if we blow through the hose, nothing. You're not going to get anything through because the solenoid has stopped it from running, circulating through the solenoid. So what we have over here, we have two. These are 12 volt. They're actually the wiring that sits on top of the engine harness has the two. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use our 12 volt. This is our 12 volt regulated power supply. And hold on. We're going to go ahead and call that back. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the 12 volt power supply to the connectors here. So we're just going to stick these on here as such, so you have the opportunity to know what we're talking about. All right, so now as soon as you turn it, right now it's blocked. You can hear this came on. There. All right, it's normally closed, so there's nothing able to go through. Once you turn the power on, this snaps in here, and now you can hear that the solenoid opened, and now the vacuum can run through. If I turn the power off, you can feel it snap. There you go. You can hear it turn back on, turn back off, turn back on. A vacuum runs through, turn it off, vacuum is off. So that is what a new one is. Now, what we had today, we had a problem. Once you start your car, it would die. So, you're thinking maybe it's out of gas, maybe the electrics isn't working. Well, what we found was this was a solenoid that was on there. And what happens is that over the years, 40 years, 45, 50 years, they've corrode up inside. Now, even though it looks a little corroded on the outside, all right, it wasn't running properly. It was kind of hit and miss. And what happened, as you can see with the new one, the wires that come out, there's a little rubber insulator there. The wire comes out to the tailpiece. All right, that's a brand new one. This one here, that's been in there for 40 years, all right, what happened was the wire broke off, all right, just through age, stuff like that. So the wire broke off, and it was just sitting inside, so sometimes it was making contact, sometimes it wasn't. So, I don't want to be out on the road. I've done down this road with 9 Rolls Royces, so I kind of got the idea what you have to do when you're checking everything. So what we did was we went ahead and we cut down it was actually flush there. We took a razor blade and we cut this down. Now, just because the wire you can buy one of these news upwards of $250. I saw it on the internet for sale. If you get it from Flying Spares out of England, I think it's about $125. So what we're going to do, we're going to show you that the solenoid, in fact, is still good. Now, if they're sticking and the wires are intact, you can go ahead and put some WD-40 down here, and by putting the WD-40 down in the hole, it gets down into the mechanism inside the solenoid, and then it frees it up, and then it works beautifully. So when you're talking about $250 for a solenoid, and there's two of them under there, under the hood, you better be able to know how to save it. Now this one here is normally open. This means that the vacuum is running straight through there with no electricity on it, as you can hear. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put our 12-volt regulated power supply back on. All right, make sure they don't touch. We'll go ahead, flip the switch. We heard the solenoid engage. Here it's off. You heard that click. There it is. It's on. Now I'm blowing through it, and you're not getting anything through the solenoid. When you flip it off, now you got your solenoid. So there's actually nothing wrong with the solenoid itself. It was the wiring that failed after 40 years, and they're all the same from 1967 up to 1980, and they actually go on for the Corniche convertibles, Silver Spirits, and the Silver Spurs. I don't know if they have those on there, but these are the ones that are most common on a Silver Spirit, Silver Spur. So what we're going to do, there's a couple of things we can do. One, we can go ahead and get soldering gun, which I have, and we could go ahead and resolder some new wires on here, or we just go ahead and we take a couple of the terminals, all right, the terminals that we have here, and we go ahead. Now you can see the insulation is a lot thicker, all right, so if we went to go ahead and put this on, you're not going to get contact to the metal because you have too much insulation. So what I did was I cut these down, and we made them so that you can see it right here. We cut the extra insulation off, so now it's right up against what we need. And by sticking this right on there, just like that, I actually cut this one down too. We go ahead and put that one on, and then we can either solder that, or we can just go ahead and use our wire crimpers. We're going to crimp that down. Now, once that's crimped down, I'm going to actually use a piece of this tubing. We're going to slide the tubing down on there so that it's not going to be weak anymore. So you're going to actually have two new wires. I'm not going to use these. These have been in there for 40 years. They're very stiff. They're brittle because of the intense heat that wiring had to contend with over the 40 years of running under that hood of that Rolls Royce. We're just going to put two new wires. As a matter of fact, even the connector broke off of there as well. So we're not going to use those, but we're going to put two new wires in there, some high temperature wire, so that it'll be done. So that one there, $250 new, other than putting two new things on, running some WD-40 through there, checking it out, and doing it done. So now we have one more here. This is another one, solenoid that we had. We're going to go ahead, we'll show you again. It's the same operation as this one. This one has the wires. This one was repaired years ago. It actually was done with tape wrapped all the way around it to insulate that wiring. That one's normally open, meaning the vacuum can run through. We go ahead, install our 12-volt regulated power supply. We'll go ahead and turn on the power. You'll hear it click. There's the click. There's the click off. There it is back on. Now by blowing through, you're not going to get no air down because the solenoid shut it off on the inside. Turn it off. There it clicked. And now the vacuum goes through. So when you have no vacuum, the vacuum is what balances the carburetors and the fuel system. Once you shut your engine off and the vacuum now is off, now it just runs through it. The vacuum is gone, and that'll shut your engine off to keep it from running, because you don't want your Rolls-Royce engine or any engine to continue dieseling after, because then you're going to do some damage to the motor, because as it's just running with no electric, it's building up fluid, building up gas and stuff like that. So if you happen to have a Rolls-Royce and any other vehicle that has these electric solenoids, and if you're having a problem with your vacuum, before you start replacing you got to check, run a meter on here, or just hook 12 volts to make sure that in fact it's either a normally opened or a normally closed solenoid. So there you have it, Mr. Sunshine Lux Rolls-Royce technician Eddy. We got a new one here. We're gonna put that one together here momentarily. We'll get rid of these old wires. We won't need that. And there you go. So $250, $750 sitting theoretically in 3 brand new units that are up and running. Put a little WD-40 in there, squirt it up, charge it back and forth with the solenoid to free it up, and it should technically last another 40 years. Rolls-Royce made these cars to last, made them to run. If you have a brake issue, brake light 1, brake light 2, or your brakes are very weak, you give me a call. Mr. Sunshine rebuilds the brake accumulators and the valves. If you have lost your key, we can make keys for virtually everyone other than the new Phantom, which is built by BMW these days, and Bentley built by Volkswagen. So we're not going to be dealing with it. But the classic ones, the oldest one I've done to date right now is a 1927 Rolls-Royce. So if you need any kind of keys for any Rolls-Royce, don't hesitate to call Mr. Sunshine at 561-693-8636. Coming to you live here in a cloudy, rainy South Florida. Hope you enjoyed that. Any questions, don't hesitate to send me a text. Thank you for watching.